It's 8 on the 25th of September 2025. In the South China Sea, near Woody Island, the USS Barry detected multiple fast-moving contacts. Alarms scream. Red lights flood the ship as sailors sprint to battle stations. Outside, the sea is calm until streaks of fire slice the horizon. 12 YJ-12 anti-ship missiles race in, skimming the waves to hide from radar. On the bridge, voices clash. Tracks confirmed closing fast. The captain's orders cut through. Hard turn to port. Launch interceptors. Deploy decoys. In Combat Information Center, screens overflow with arrows and timers. Vampires inbound. A watchstander calls the Navy's word for incoming missiles. Guns spin up, cells open, generators surge. Nearby, a U.S. oiler rides heavy and slow. Barry shifts to shield it, knifing through the swell to face the threat. Flight time is counted in seconds. The horizon flashes again. The first wave crosses the last mile. This is no drill. The next moments decide who survives. In the South China Sea, trade lanes run like arteries. Each day, tankers and container ships move fuel, food, and electronics that keep homes lit and stores stocked. The USS Barry is here to guard one of those lines. Alongside it sails a U.S. oiler, slow, heavy, essential, unprotected. It's a floating jackpot for anyone wanting to send a message. For Washington, open water means credibility and calm markets. If America falters, insurers raise rates, captains reroute, and prices climb at home. Allies watch every move. Some hedge the moment sea lanes look uncertain. For Beijing, pushing U.S. ships back from Woody Island is about control. Runways, radars, and missile sites there are meant to turn the island into a lock on the map, a place where Chinese forces set the rules and others comply. The morning breaks when a Chinese destroyer fires a dozen YJ-12 at the American oiler. The message is plain: your shield won't hold. Barry's mission flips from presence to protection in one breath. If the destroyer's strike lands, a tanker burns, crews die, and the busiest route in Asia looks easy to close. If Barry blocks it, the signal reverses. U.S. ships can still take a punch and keep the sea open. The oiler matters because it feeds the fleet. Lose it and sorties drop, patrols shrink, and commanders start saying no to risks. That is how a single hit becomes a strategic bruise that lingers. Both captains stare at the same horizon and see different futures. One sees open seas and steady trade. The other sees a tightening ring of control. The gap between those visions is where missiles fly and reputations break. Comment below. Press 1 if the US must hold the line, or press 9 if China's challenge will break through. 8:10. The crew braces as alarms pulse. On radar, 12 inbound tracks grow closer, closing distance at nearly Mach 3. The Combat Information Center runs hot, every second shaped by voices calling bearings and ranges. The captain wastes no time. Launch interceptors. Vertical launch cells slam open. The first salvo of SM-2 missiles roars skyward, leaving smoke trails across the blue. They climb, curve, and dive, hunting the incoming YJ-12. Seconds matter. The first American missiles meet the wave midair. Explosions crack like thunder miles away. 2, then 3 enemy tracks vanish, but 9 remain, still slicing toward the oiler. The captain orders the ship's electronic warfare team into action. EA-18G Growlers overhead sweep the sky with jamming signals, scrambling missile seekers. Decoys fire from Barry's launchers, bright flares and chaff clouds, buying precious seconds. 8:12. The next layer activates. Barry fires another salvo, this time Standard Missile 6 interceptors, longer reach, faster kill. 4 streak into the sky. One finds its target, detonating a YJ-12 mid-arc. Another clips one near the wave tops. Still, several push through the defenses, hugging the sea to stay hidden until the last mile. The oiler's crew watches helplessly from the deck. They know their ship is no warship, slow, soft-skinned, carrying millions of gallons of jet fuel. If one missile gets through, the ship could vanish in fire. Barry maneuvers hard, its hull shuddering as it turns to cut angles for its defense systems. Close-in weapons ready, the captain calls. Phalanx CIWS guns' last resort defenses begin spinning. barrels humming at 4,500 rounds per minute. The horizon flashes again. 3 missiles left. Their engines glow orange, skimming the waves at blistering speed. Barry's crew has no room for error now. The sky is streaked with contrails, smoke, and scattered fireballs. The sea below is littered with debris. Radios crackle as nearby U.S. aircraft report hits. Their jamming runs disrupting several seekers just in time. But the engagement is not over. Even as explosions echo across the horizon, the remaining warheads are seconds away. The Americans have slowed the storm, but they haven't stopped it yet. 8:14. The last defenses grind into action. 3 YJ-12 remain, streaking low, their warheads locked on the American ships. Barry's guns thunder, the ship rolling slightly as gunners adjust angles for a clear shot. One missile breaks apart under a storm of 20mm rounds, fragments splashing harmlessly into the sea. The crew cheers for half a second, then braces again. 2 more are still closing. Electronic warfare operators push systems to the limit, flooding the air with noise, trying to blind the seekers. The ship turns 5 more degrees, reducing its profile, buying fractions of a second. The oiler continues straight, too heavy to dodge, relying completely on Barry's shield. On its deck, sailors crouch and pray, watching tracers light the horizon. 8:15. The second missile dives. CIWS barrels blaze, spitting fire. Shells cut through the air, sparks flash. Then a fireball erupts as another YJ-12 is torn apart. The blast rattles the oiler's hull. Still, 1 missile survives, skimming barely above the waves, seconds from impact. Barry's systems lock on. The ship shakes as it turns, engines straining. Decoys fire again, drifting into the path, but the missile ignores them. The captain shouts, "All guns engage!" The last CIWS opens up, white-hot tracers cutting across the water. The missile swerves, confused, and the crew's hearts freeze. Damage control teams crouch by hatchways with hoses and foam, ready to fight, fire, or seal a breach. Medics stage stretchers in the passageway. In the oiler's engine room, the chief trims pumps to cut pressure one hedge against a fuel-fed inferno. Overhead, growlers hold a final jamming run in reserve. A calm voice checks in on the net and steadies the bridge. The destroyer's deck reeks of cordite. Brass casings clatter at the crew's boots. Everyone holds their breath. For 30 seconds, time bends. The destroyer's men and women are stretched to the limit, every eye locked on a single burning dot racing across the surface. This is the moment that defines the fight. Either America proves its shield holds, or China proves it can break through. Comment below, press 1 if you believe Barry's crew will stop the last missile, or press 9 if China's strike will hit home. The fate of 2 ships, and the story of this battle, hangs on seconds. 8:18. The horizon falls silent for a moment. The last YJ-12 explodes in a spray of fire and seawater. Sailors on Barry exhale, some gripping rails with shaking hands. But silence doesn't last. New radar tracks bloom low, fast, and numerous. This time, it's not missiles, it's fighters. J-11 and J-16 roar off Woody Island, carrying bombs and anti-radar missiles. Their path curves low to stay hidden. Barry's operators call them out. Bogies inbound, bearing 120, range 60 miles. The destroyer has seconds to react. The oiler cannot run. The twist is clear. These jets are not just striking ships, they're hunting radars. Without sensors, Barry is blind. The crew shifts frequencies, switches modes, trying to keep systems alive. Growlers dive in, jamming enemy signals. But the fighters press forward, dropping decoys. The sky fills with false echoes and confusion. The captain faces a dilemma. Fire off missiles now, or save them for another hidden wave of YJ-12. One wrong choice means disaster. Barry fires SM-6 upward, trails carving arcs across the sky. Explosions mark 2 kills. Yet more aircraft advance, releasing glide bombs. Guns rattle, shockwaves ripple across the deck. The fight has changed. Missiles were fast, but fighters adapt mid-run. Every sailor knows, if one anti-radar missile lands, Barry's defenses collapse, and the oiler becomes a burning wreck. This is no longer just defense, it is survival in real time. Two superpowers trade blows over one patch of sea. Each strike more dangerous, each counter more desperate. Comment below, press 1 if Barry will adapt fast enough, or 9 if China's air assault will break through. 8:22. The sky erupts in chaos. J-16 drop payloads, streaks plunging toward the American ships. Barry's radars switch frequencies to stay alive. Alarms howl across the destroyer. The Combat Information Center calls multiple inbound 20 seconds. The first glide bomb slams into the sea, sending a wall of spray over the oiler. The second is cut mid-air by CIWS fire. More bombs arc down. The ship rocks under shockwaves. On deck, sailors brace against rails, soaked in salt and smoke. 8:23. Barry launches its last line of defense. ESSM missiles streak from vertical cells, curving to meet the attackers. Explosions rip the sky. One fighter disintegrates, another veers, jettisoning its bombs before fleeing. Still, two press in, releasing anti-radar missiles. The bridge goes silent. If those hit, Barry is blind and the oiler is lost. Phalanx guns scream, tracers cutting the night. One missile explodes short, raining fragments. The second keeps coming. Sailors hold their breath. At the last second, a growler dives, jamming point blank. The missile wavers, then slams into the sea yards off Barry's bow. The blast shakes the ship, throwing sailors to the deck. But Barry survives. The fighters break off, chased by U.S. missiles. Smoke drifts across the waves, fireballs fading on the horizon. Barry's crew stands, exhausted but alive. The oiler still floats, scarred but untouched. For now, the line holds. Reports trickle in. Scorched antennas, blistered paint, two gunners bruised, damage control teams, foam hot metal, vent smoke, and chase sparks from cable trunks. The Spy 1 array flickers, then steadies, still tracking. On the oiler, engineers seal valves and check fuel lines. Medics tape sprains and pass water to shaking hands. Both ships return to course, slower, tighter, unbroken. Lookouts sweep the dark water. Sonar reports clean. The captain sets down a trembling coffee. Reset stations, he orders. Rearm what we can. A dull glow from Woody Island reminds them the next wave may already be forming. Two powers have bared their teeth, and neither looks ready to back down. Comment below, press 1 if America's shield will hold, or press 9 if China's next strike will break through, and subscribe to follow the next clash. 8:40. The smoke begins to clear. The sea is littered with fragments of metal and streaks of oil. Barry and the oiler still move slower, battered but afloat. For the crew, survival feels like victory. Yet the cost is plain. The destroyer's decks are scorched, ammunition bins half spent, and sailors slumped in exhaustion. The oiler carries scars down its flanks, proof that one more missile might have tipped the balance. News travels fast. In Washington, officials see proof that American defenses still work, but also a warning. Each Chinese missile or jet costs a fraction of the American weapons used to stop it. Economists calculate the math. Strategists note the strain, and allies measure how long the shield can truly hold. In Beijing, the narrative is different. Propaganda outlets hail the sortie as proof that U.S. warships are vulnerable. They show footage of YJ-12 launches and fighters lifting from Woody Island, claiming that the battle demonstrates China can contest the seas at will. The truth lies between. The Americans held, but only barely. For sailors on Barry, the meaning is sharper. They know the next wave will be bigger, faster, and harder to stop. They've seen how thin the line really is, and how close the ocean came to swallowing them whole. Yet they also know they stood their ground and the world was watching. Strategically, the clash marks more than a skirmish. It signals an age where cheap salvos test expensive defenses, and even survival counts as a win. The US still holds the line today, but the pressure only grows. The horizon remains unsettled. More Chinese units mass near Woody Island, and US reinforcements are en route. Neither side looks ready to yield. This battle may be remembered not for who struck hardest, but for showing how close the balance of power has become. two superpowers tested each other, and the sea is still open for now. Comment below, press 1 if you believe America's resolve will keep the seas free, or press 9 if you think China's challenge will ultimately break through. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this conflict.